Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 10 of the Future Ready Librarians podcast series, Leading from the Library. This is a podcast for all librarians wherever you are in your journey. It is filled with amazing guests, important topics, and engaging conversations that will inspire, engage, and support all of us as future ready librarians. I am your host, Shannon McClintock Miller. I am the district teacher librarian at Van Meter Community School in Van Meter, Iowa, and serve as the Future Ready Librarians leader. I have the pleasure of working within my library and school community and also with others around the country and world through Future Ready librarian events, conferences, consulting, writing, and more. I am honored to bring these voices and the work of others to our podcast and to all of you. Well, everybody, you're in for a real treat today because I have a new friend on, and I have been reading and just brainstorming all kinds of things that I am going to ask Bridget today. And just wait until you hear about her library and all of the amazing things that she does to make it the hub of their school. So you're going to be blown away. But let's just start by having you introduce yourself, Bridget, and tell us where you practice, where you're a librarian, and what you do for your job.
Sure. Well, first of all, my accent, I always have to explain that. I'm originally from England, so I'm an expat, but I've been in the States a long time. My school is in Alpharetta, Georgia, and Forsyth County Schools. And I took over there about as the media specialist about 4 years ago. I was an ELA teacher in the school, had the opportunity. It was one of those sort of perfect storm scenarios, and found out that I was just in the place I love to be. And started off thinking, what would I like the media center to do as a teacher? And then started learning more about actually being a librarian in the middle of doing my master's right now. And it's just been a wild ride, growing opportunities for kids and teachers.
It's like the best job, isn't it?
It totally is. I met someone the other day who actually had gone back to teaching. And after I had made suitable noises about, are you crazy? And she said, well, I can't stand it when my day doesn't go as planned. And I went, oh, now I get it. Because to me, that's what I thrive on, is the absolute chaos and uncertainty and all the different kids and questions. And it's exhausting sometimes, it's frustrating sometimes, but I wouldn't swap it for the world. So I understood her perspective, but I'm like, oh, I almost don't want to share what I do because it's so amazing.
I know. I love it too. And it's always different. I love that you never quite know, what it might throw at you. And that to me makes it even more exciting that we always have something different that we can do and people that we can focus on. And I think that's the fun part of what our conversation is going to be about today. And I love it because when I was reading through just the things that you had mentioned that you wanted to talk about today, one thing is that how you focus on everyone from your staff and your students and your admin, your families, I'm sure. And I
Mhm.
think that's what makes, another part of our job just so unique and special is that we get to do that. And so,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely. I think when I went into it, and it's funny in some ways, I kind of wish I'd had my media specialist. I wish I'd had that before because I'm learning so much. But on the other hand, it kind of opened up an opportunity for me because it was like a complete open canvas. Before I got the job, I actually listened to a podcast, one of the cult of pedagogy podcasts that she had done about how a library had grown. And I got so many ideas and suggestions just from that like one podcast. And when I went in, it's partly my personality too. It was like, I'm just going to throw everything everywhere and see where it sticks. And you're absolutely right. I think sometimes we forget, one of the first things we did is I took my workroom and I made a snack place for teachers with coffee. And a lot of us do that. And all of a sudden, I had the custodial staff and the cafeteria staff visit. And it was just that making that everyone in the school comes to visit, and teachers who may not ever thought I could help teach a lesson for them come in and see me teaching other people's kids. And it's just that If I can make it a community space instead of a book space, it changes the way everyone looks at the media center.
And it gets people to come. And that's
Sure.
all you have to do is hook them, and then they come. And talking about teachers, like let's just start there with your staff. Probably not just teachers either, your whole staff. And I heard that you do. I love that you have a teacher hub with snacks and coffee because oftentimes that's what really hooks them to come in and then they come back and they stay and that's what we really want. But I'm sure there's lots of other things that you do too. So tell us a little bit about how you.
Sure. So
Yeah.
I try and include them like on really on everything. Like they're invited to enter contests. We have our own categories for teachers, whether it's book fair, whether it's a t-shirt design contest. I do a standalone reading challenge for teachers each month, and that's a lot of fun when we budget it out for the year. And when they win, they get to choose a book, and then they get to choose a special student, and they get a book too. Total value of less than $24, and we buy them each a book, and that's hugely successful because our teachers love giving things to their students too, and the fact that it's a book makes it really cool and exciting. And I send birthday emails every month. Every week we get a email from admin about what's going on up to date, and it always has the birthday months at the bottom. And this was actually an idea I got from Lauren Mobley, another media specialist here in Georgia. And I take that list and I schedule out emails. And when it's your birthday, you get an email, a happy birthday from the MLC. That's what we call ourselves, the Media and Learning Center. Um, and I know they love it because they always send me a thank you. Like almost every teacher replies and says thank you. And it's those little touches that just top of mind, top of mind. I always use emojis in my subject line, like anything I can do that just makes us stand out and reminds them that we're there for them. One thing that I did get from that cult of pedagogy thing that I honestly, it was such a powerful thing. And they talked about how they did a prescription, like your doctor writes a
Ah,
prescription for you to go to the pharmacy, right? So the teachers all get, they get them in the workroom, whatever. We have them on copy. And basically, they write down the names of the kids that they're sending to the MLC. It's a maximum of 6 at one time. We're working on that. And they say what they're doing, and then they have little check boxes, whether they're allowed to collaborate or not, whether they're allowed technology or not, and what time they should come back. And I always tell the teachers, it's not my job to babysit them. I'm not going to be checking they're doing what you ask them to do. But if you have told me that they need to be silent, they will be silent. If you've told me that they need to be off technology, they will be off technology. And these prescriptions have worked really well because even the teachers who don't typically use the media center, they love that, whether it's a reward for their kids to come down, use the makerspace because they finished early, or to read, or they're sitting there finishing quizzes or tests or studying or working in small groups. And the teachers really have begun to embrace us as an extension of their classroom. And that was my number one goal, to get those kids in there, that this was a great space, that teachers would see us as something we can't live without.
well, and that is just so amazing because I'm sure that the kids also look forward to coming for those times. And if you can get them there for that, they probably come back too to check out books and to do other things in the library as well. And I think about like the stuff that you're doing with teachers, I'm sure that that also is time for you to make connections with them to help like collaborate or get lessons ready. Do you
I,
do a lot of that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course I'm sneaky and look at what the kids are doing because sometimes I can be like, "Ooh, I can help with that." I feel very, very blessed that when I did take over this position, people saw me as an ELA teacher. I taught sixth and seventh grade. They saw and hopefully respected me as a teacher. So it was much easier than had I come in not knowing anyone, and going to them and asking about collaboration. And pretty quickly, I was able to build up pretty strong, so continuous relationships of doing all the research classes for almost all of the grades for ELA, social studies, and science, very involved with the science fair teachers. I tell everyone who's new, who's finding it difficult to collaborate, go to your science teachers because they do not want to teach APA. They do not want to teach formatting. They do not really want to teach research. And they were thrilled for me to take that over. And so that's been really, really strong. And then slowly but surely, other teachers have jumped on. We do have reading classes, so that's an obvious connection. I'm doing Introduction to Poetry this week.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
so, it's that ability to be able to help. And as far as sort of new classes, because I'm always looking for new opportunities, I really work hard at getting those standards. Like I just got all the new ELA standards that we have starting next year so that I can look through, look at the standards, see what I can work with, and then send them kind of an idea. Because the teachers don't have time for a collaboration meeting. I mean, I know at school we learn that and we're supposed to do that, but the reality is they want to see my idea. Then they can collaborate from there and say, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. And then I can go in more in depth. And I think having been a teacher, that really helps me because I have that complete, and I'm not saying that other media specialists don't understand. I just think it's a very specific, when you've lived it, you just know how much goes into to what you've got to do and how little time you have for any extras. Sometimes it's easier just to keep going, even though I know I can save them time. It's almost like a planning period for them. I can get information to them they didn't know, but the teachers are just busy. So the
Yeah.
more information I can give them up front and they can look at it and say, this bit works, this bit doesn't work, the more chance I'm going to have to be able to work with them.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they probably find you just to be someone they can't, live without because of that help that you give them, which I think is just so amazing. And also you understand, the busyness and what they're going through too. Now, the next thing, probably my favorite thing about being a librarian is working with our kids and working with our students. And I just can't even wait to hear all of the fun things that you do in your library with your kids.
I mean, that's why we do it, right? I mean, it's yeah, I love books, but it's about the kids. Um, so the very first thing I did, it was a short version of it was right when I got offered the opportunity at the end of the school year. I actually had to go back to England, take family and medical leave at to look after my mom. And so right before I left, I was like, okay, I need to meet with kids because I have to have a plan when I come back in the fall. So we had after school meetings, the kids stayed, got pizza. I had like 30 kids sign up, and they just brainstormed with me about what they would like to do. And ever since that, now every summer I have a little camp for the kids who have already said they want to volunteer next year. And for my student aides, I do have two classes that I'll have like 4 to 6 kids who spend their connection with me and they work with me. And they come in the summer. I feed them pizza. We do two, one at the beginning of the summer while it's still fresh in their mind, where they kind of brainstorm. And we always say, cost is no issue. And they have big sheets of paper and they write their ideas and then they rotate and it's all super fun. And some of their ideas are amazing. If I was a multi-billionaire, we would absolutely be doing them.
Yeah.
And then we have a second one where we fine tune and we connect and we see what's real and what's not. And we fill out a calendar. So when I get to the beginning of the school year, we already have a plan. Now, do we follow the plan 100%? Of course not, because life happens. Do we add things? Absolutely, because friends will put something on Instagram and I'm like, we are doing that. So, it's kind of a rough plan, but it's so much easier than starting with nothing. And the big thing for me is when it's the kids' ideas, they're engaged, they're excited. Like I'll have this brilliant idea and they'll be like, yeah, no, Mrs. Bryson. I'm like, that's right. I'm a lot older. Sounded good to
I
me.
might, I might love it, but yeah.
Right. But the 11-year-old is looking at me like I just grew two heads and a tail. So we don't do that. And, like this year they're looking at the calendar and they're like, dress up your pet day. We have to have a dress up your pet day contest. And so we evolved from, no, we're not bringing pets to school to people sending photos in. It was just a simple idea, but the kids loved it. And then we do like Harry Potter camp where they come in every morning and they create all the activities. They're in charge of the activities. I'm just there to supervise. And then the other kids are invited to come. So My volunteers truly come up with the ideas and run the things. And in middle school, you can do that. They're old enough to do it, and it's such a great learning opportunity for them.
I know, and they love that. And it is a great opportunity because, you find these little like pockets of interest that they might have, and it really makes them feel like they can shine too, because that's just so important. I know I heard that genre genies, is that what it's called?
Yeah, so these guys, I do love an
Love it.
alliteration. Yeah, these guys come in once a week. We have like a flex time where if they don't have work to catch up, they can choose other things to do. And the genre genies are all assigned a genre. So the beginning of the year, they pick their genre. We have little cards on the genre. This genre brought to you by Shannon McClintock Miller, right? And
Love
and it's really cute. And they come in and then they rotate the displays each week. And of course, not everyone can come every week, but they come in, they rotate the displays, they change the series we got on display. The first couple of weeks, they learn how to do dynamic shelving. So I work through that with them. And then they come and that's their job is to make the genre look amazing. And some of them will come and say, "Hey, Mrs. Bryson, the mystery section this year, can I do a riddle of the week?" Yes, you may. And it turned into riddle of the month because they couldn't keep up with it. But they do a riddle every month and kids answer. And if they get it correct, they get a piece of candy. Again, I didn't think of that. The kids thought of it and it's brilliant. And if they don't keep up with it, the students come in and go, "The riddle of the month didn't get updated." And I'm like, "Well, I will talk to the genre genies." And it's fabulous because they have such ownership over their area and they're so proud when the books are all checked out and the display is empty. It's wonderful to see and they really get it, which is fun.
Oh, I love that idea. I'm going to totally do that in my library. That is just what a great idea. And I think that, again, it just gives them such ownership over the collection. And I know one thing that you mentioned was your circulation and your checkouts. And this is really exciting because it does show, when we do this kind of programming and we have these different things for kids and we put them in the center of everything we do in our library, what can truly happen. And so I can't wait until you tell everybody about your checkouts because it blew my mind. It's
So it was really cool. The year before that I took over, we had around 19,000 books checked out. Was kind of our average. It upped and down according to COVID and whatnot. And then after the first year, we grew to just under 60,000
that's
checkouts. So we tripled it in the first year. We then had reading classes come in, so they now have their own classroom libraries. So we had a little bit of a dip the following year, but we're sort of maintaining between 50 and 60,000 a year, which is super exciting because it's all, I mean, it really is just due to implementing things that the kids love. That's
yeah.
what it's about. And, not all the kids are readers. I just want them to love our space. And that's my goal. It's the ultimate goal.
Well, and that's something that you're creating like lifelong learners and readers, right? Like you hook them in that love of reading that they have and just even learning, and being part of that community is just so special for them. And so you're doing amazing things, my friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I
I
mean,
love it.
it's so much fun, right? Like, so am I ever exhausted? Absolutely. But
Yes.
but it's fun and it's become my life and I really enjoy it.
Oh, I always think like the day goes so fast, right? As a librarian, because I felt like that today at school. I got there, I think around 7:30, and I pretty soon I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's 2:30 already. Like where'd the day go?" And it's just so fun. Like so fun and meaningful for everybody and truly makes a difference just like you're doing in your library every day.
Well, thank you. I try.
I just love it. So if people want to follow what's happening in your library, where could they find you online?
So, but the best place really for me is Blue Sky. I'm one of the Twitter Exodus people. And that is, and I think you'll have it in the show notes, right? So, but it's media hyphen and hyphen mayhem dot bsky dot social. I also have a website, which is magicandmayhem.us, which I do my best to keep up to
That's
date
so
and whatnot.
great.
But I do have stuff on there, and obviously anyone is more than welcome. My personal email is bryson.bridget@gmail.com. And sincerely, I love to share. I mean, I swear that pretty much every idea I've ever had, I have got from someone else. And I think as a teacher, I believed in that strongly, and I believe in it even more as a media specialist because we are an island of our own. And so anything I can do to help anyone, I'm thrilled to. And thank you to everyone who's listening right now who said, wait a minute, I did that and told Bridget about it, because I appreciate you.
Yes, and I love that. We're in a community of sharing and just, so many friendships and great things that our kids get to benefit from the community that we have as librarians. So I appreciate that too. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. And we're going to stay connected because I want to hear all the amazing things that you continue to do. And I know everybody else will too. So we appreciate everything that you shared today.
Not at all. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me on.
As always, thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for this episode of the Future Ready Librarian podcast series, Leading from the Library. And a very special thank you to our sponsors, Follett. You make a difference in our libraries, schools, and within our lives, and that of our students every day. We appreciate everything you do. I hope you can take what you learned in today's podcast and put it to use within your practice as a future-ready librarian. If I can support you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me on X or Instagram at Shannon M. Miller, or to my email at shannonmcclintockmiller@gmail.com. I am always happy to help and support each and every one of you. Until next time, friends, keep finding ways to lead within and from your library.